Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon, your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Trace, for speaking with me again, and welcome to Pop Culture Weekly. We're going to talk about PBS's A Capital Fourth and your new single, but I'd like to, kind of look at as you're celebrating 30 years. It's a long time in any career, let alone in the music industry. When you look back, to 96, you released Dreamin' Out Loud. What is the biggest surprise, that you would say Trace back then would say to Trace today, or the opposite?
Well, when Dreamin' Out Loud came out, my first single, I think, got in the teens. Then my second single went top 5. My third single went number 1. My fourth single went number 1. The album went platinum, and I thought, wow, this is going to be easy, And then reality, sets in, and it's not always going to be like that, the sophomore slump and all that kind of stuff. I would just say to myself back then, just be patient. It's all going to be all right, and everything's going to work itself out. But 30 years, I wouldn't have even allowed myself to dream that I would still be relevant after 30 years. That's a long time, and I'm very grateful. And it's been a dream come true, and dreams do come true.
I love that. And you're on tour right now. Is there a particular moment, where it really hit you that you've been doing this for 3 decades?
Yeah, I think it was that first weekend that we went out on tour this year, and I started setting up the first single that came out in 96, which was There's a Girl in Texas. And I was telling the story about it before I sang the song, and I started setting it up, and it started to hit me. It was like, wow, this was it. This was and it just happened to be a song that I wrote, and the president of the record label said, this is the one that I think will introduce you to everybody in the way that you should be introduced, and let's go with this one. And because it was personal to me, and it still is. Lyrically, that song, it means more to me now than it did when I wrote it. It means something different now, but the lyrics really hit me hard, now when I do it. And so it was that first weekend out that it dawned on me what this all meant.
When you're putting, I'm sorry.
No.
When you're putting together, a set list that's looking over your entire career thus far, how do you balance playing, the hits and the songs that people want to see versus the songs that mean the most to you personally as an artist, or, have some specific, reason that you want to do this song for this tour? How do you kind of balance that?
Yeah, well, I do a greatest hits show, that I know what the fans want. They want to hear what they've heard on the radio. But since it is a little different, 30-year anniversary tour, I do slip 2 or 3 in there for my own gratification, deep album cuts that meant a lot to me. And I don't do many of them. I do 2 or 3. But I am putting 2 or 3 of those in there this year.
That's great. And you've watched, over your career thus far, you've watched the music itself and the music industry change, so much over the last 30 years. What's one thing today in the country music scene that excites you? And what's one thing that you hope never changes in the industry?
My gosh, that's a loaded question. You're trying to get me in trouble. I would hope that vocal ability and that kind of talent never goes away. I don't care how much you can uh, digitally massage things and make them sound right. I don't think that's what this business should be about. You know, it should be straight up, you know, just sing it, and it is what it is. But that's not the world we live in. And, the thing that I hope never goes away is just how uh, big country music still is as a genre. I mean, there are more country music stations than any other genre in this country. That was true when I started, and is still true 30 years later. And I think that's great.
Do you have a new song that you're releasing, American Made, and you're going to be debuting it live on a Capitol Fourth? What is it about this song that made you say this is the one for this time?
I was thinking 250, when I wrote this, and I thought, I'm going to personalize this. This is how my uh, family came here and how long ago my family came here. I was fortunate enough a few years ago to receive an award from the Daughters of the American Revolution that I didn't deserve, but they gave it to me anyway. And they gave me my family tree, my genealogy. It was on a big board, and I'd never seen that before. And they went all the way back to the Revolution because that's what they're about. And if you had verifiable patriots in your family tree, they had a little American flag by each one of them. And on both sides of my family, you have to go back more than 8 generations to find somebody that wasn't born in this country. And I wanted to celebrate that. And so that's why I wrote this song, and it's not to diminish anybody else's heritage or how long they've been here. This is just me.
Yeah, you're a story.
Yeah. And so that's why I wrote it the way I did. And I celebrated that. And that's what American Made. That's what this song means to me.
It's a great song, and I can't wait to see you perform it live at a Capitol Fourth. But you've recorded, a number of songs about America and everyday Americans and blue collar people, hardworking people. Why has that been a theme for you?
That's country music. I
Yeah.
think, it's just that's country music was, for the everyday guy, the working man. That's how it was when it started, and it's still that way. And that's cool, and I'm happy about that. But I've always there's always been a spot or two or three on my albums for those kinds of songs, patriotic, uh, celebrating working man, woman. I've always had room on my albums for songs like that, and I've always had a deep uh, appreciation for the men and women that served in the military. And I've on just about every album I've done a song that paid tribute to them, um, at least in some small way. And I'm proud of that.
Well, as you should be. When you're introducing a brand new song like you are with American Made, you have audiences that have known your catalog for decades, but you're putting a new kind of baby, if you will, out into the world. Does that is that still nerve-wracking for you
Oh
to,
yeah.
yeah?
Oh gosh. And that's exactly what that's the analogy that I've used over the years too. People don't understand. You go into the studio and you have this raw piece of material and you try to turn it into a beautiful butterfly, and you hope that it's gonna speak to people the way it speaks to you. And it's like having a baby, and you think it's the most beautiful baby in the world, and the last thing you want is somebody to come up to you and say, "Oh my, what an ugly baby," you just don't want to hear that, and it's always been that way for me. I hate it when people tell me I've got an ugly baby. Want to smack them.
What I was, lucky enough, you guys sent over the track so I could listen to it. And it really is a beautiful song. What do you hope people, and I love that I got to listen to it in my headphones. I got to focus on it for 4 minutes. What do you hope people take away from it the first time they hear American Made?
I just hope that they puff up a little bit and be proud, be proud that you're an American. This is our 250th of this grand experiment, this democracy that we've tried so hard to keep for 250 years. And we've been through rough times, and some people think we're going through rough times now, but we have the spine to get through it. We have the tenacity. We've proven it for 250 years. And I think every now and then we should beat our chest a little bit and be proud of it.
That's great. And you will be performing this live on PBS's A Capital Fourth, which is always such an incredible show, such a great celebration of America. You've performed, a number of times for them. Why do you keep coming back?
It's just, and it's almost just an overwhelming experience when you walk out on that stage facing the Capitol and there's 100-piece orchestra behind you. That is something that as a singer, uh, those opportunities don't come around very often. And you'd be a fool to not take that opportunity. And anybody out there that has ever had the chance to do it and maybe turned it down for whatever reason, I would suggest if they offer you the chance to do it again, you should go just for selfish reasons. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. I've been lucky enough to go the last probably 8 or 9 years, and every single time, whether it's rehearsals or during the live show, I get chills, at one point or another or multiple points, because it really is a sacred space. And then you have these incredible artists like yourself that are, either celebrating the troops or remembering our troops or the country or whatever. And it's very, and then for the live show, you have 100,000 people watching you on the lawn and around the Capitol, and millions on television and online. It really is something special. It really, truly is.
Yeah, and the production, I tip my hat to the Capital Fourth people. The production is always stellar. Just incredible. And it really is an overwhelming experience to go out on that stage with all the production, and the orchestra is always just insanely perfect. And so it's a lifetime opportunity, and I always enjoy it.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you, of course. You have built a very impressive kind of, I don't want to say side career, but aside from your main gig, if you will, with acting, right alongside your music career. What does acting do for you? What itch does it scratch that music may not?
Well, I don't know that it scratches an itch that music can't. It's just what I've likened it to is when my favorite times in the music business, really, the times that you get most inspired and creative is when you're in the studio with some of the finest musicians in the world, which is the pool we have to draw from here in Nashville. The finest musicians in the world that can play anything that you can imagine. Those days in the studio are just magical, and the creativity, everybody in there is on top of their game. And that's the way I feel when I'm on a movie set or a television set. Everybody around you is a professional, and they're very good at what they do, and they're very talented, or they wouldn't be there. And I just find that environment stimulating, and I enjoy it. It's just like being in the studio. You're surrounded by these incredibly talented and creative people, and I get a kick out of it.
You've worked in everything from, in faith-based to action to television. Is there a role that you've done that has surprised you how much has stuck with you?
Mm. Yeah, I generally like playing surly gunfighters. But people know that. They when they want me, I'm probably gonna. I have two acting methods. One's on a motorcycle, and the other one's on a horse, and those are my acting methods. And they pretty much know that. Every now and then they'll throw me a bone and let me do something else that I'm not supposed to do, but most of the time it's horses and motorcycles.
I love that. What was the moment in your acting career that you realized, like, okay, like I can do this too?
I have never felt that.
Really?
I always said that my best acting job that I do is convincing the director that I know what I'm doing, because I don't. I haven't had any training. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, I'm saying, okay, you want me to say these words? Okay. That's about the depth of it for me. I'm not, uh, you know, whoever you want to name that's an incredible actor. That's not me.
Has there been any dream roles or genres that you haven't tackled yet that you want to?
No, I think I know what lane I'm supposed to be in, and I should probably stay there.
Okay. So no Trace as a scream king in a horror
Or a
movie or something.
lawyer or a surgeon or nothing like that's probably going to work. They don't want me going in there going, all right, what we going to do? Saw the top of your head off and dig that tumor out. They don't want to hear that.
You performed at the Opry 100 earlier this year, and you were obviously inducted, or is that the word,
How they
inducted?
make you a member is,
A
yes, kind of like
member.
in the mob, I guess.
You were previously, had been made a member. What did that moment mean to you at the Opry 100 performing like that?
It was just, I wouldn't have been anywhere else on this planet that night. Um, yeah, it means that much to me. People ask me, what's the biggest achievement that you think what's the biggest thing you've achieved in your career? And I say it's something that I don't even feel like I achieved. It's just for some reason they decided to make me a member of the Grand Ole Opry, and on my list of achievements, that's top five. That's the Tahoe. That's 1 through 5, and then everything else comes after that. Grew up as a kid. You could hear it on Saturday nights on the radio, even in Louisiana, and it's just something really, really special, and it's such a historic institution. I have such reverence and respect for it, and I've never had a bad experience when I sang at the Opry, and I've been doing it now for 30 plus years, I guess.
That's incredible. What's interesting to me is that you have had over 1 billion streams with your music on Pandora alone, which is incredibly, in my opinion, remarkable considering your career started when you had to go to Walmart or Best Buy or whatever and buy an album. You know, to me, that really says something about your music and how it doesn't matter the time frame that we are in, how we consume music, people still relate to that. What does that mean to you?
Nothing. I don't even know if that's a lot. I don't know anything about the streaming stuff. I don't know. Is that a lot? I guess. I can't stream anything. I don't. It's not my thing. I don't get into that world very often. Uh, so yeah, I'm grateful, and I'm honored that there's even 100 that have streamed it. That's great, and more than I thought they would.
What does that say, to you as an artist as you see the way, or maybe don't see the way people's consumption of music has changed over your career.
Yeah, and that has completely changed. It's not even in the same zip code anymore as the way it was when I first came out. I mean, my first album came out on a cassette, you know. You, how long's it been since you saw one of those,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah, so things have definitely changed. The way people get music. It's a lot easier to get music to people these days. And I'm really grateful, you know, that I've been able to take advantage of that, and I've got a team of people that make sure that my music is available in the places that it should be, and you know, iHeartRadio being one of the many, and I'm so grateful and thankful that people are still playing it.
What, kind of winding down 30 years, what gets you excited day after day in your career?
Well, there's nothing like getting up there and singing a song and hearing the crowd singing it back to you. You know, that's just so special, you know, and they have to have they have to have familiarized themselves with your music to do that. They have to know you, and they've heard that song countless times, and then they just sing it with you. I mean, that's a really special thing, and I'm glad that they still do that.
When we're talking in 10 years for your 40th anniversary tour, what do you think people will be saying about your legacy then?
Uh, for my 40th, if I'm still doing this, they'll probably say, "Boy, I hope he gets the IRS paid off," you know, because I don't expect to still be doing this 10 years from now, to be honest with you. I look at it like an old jock, you know. Uh, this is a muscle just like everything else. And I quit playing ball whenever I couldn't play it 100% anymore. You know, I had to walk away from the game of football because I couldn't go. I wasn't even 90% anymore. I was so banged up. And once this doesn't perform the way that I want to be able to perform every night, I'm going to walk away from it. I don't know when that's going to happen. So far, I can still sing every song that I recorded in the same key that I recorded them in. I actually like the sound of my voice better now. I think it's smoother. I listen to that first record and I think, man, that sounds kind of thin. You know, now I think my voice sounds warmer, and the high is still there and the bottom's gotten even better. So, you know, as long as I can still perform, I'll keep doing it. But I just don't know how much longer that's going to hold up.
Well, hopefully for us, we are discussing this in 10 more years.
Yeah, and if we are, that's great.
Finally, what does success mean to Trace Adkins?
Uh, it happened 20 years ago. You know, I'm content. I'm happy with the way my career turned out. I wouldn't change a thing. Everything's been great, man. I mean, even the ones that didn't work at radio or whatever, those were all, it didn't matter, you know. Yeah, not people aren't always going to like everything you do, you know. But I can't complain about anything. I know how fortunate and how blessed I am to be where I am, and it's because I've had a lot of very competent people working with me over the years, and have steered this ship and made it into port when I was just floundering. But it's been great. I'm very pleased with all of it.
Trace, thank you so much for taking the time with me. You are a legend. You're an incredible artist, an incredible guy. I can't wait for everybody to hear American Made, and I can't wait to see you on PBS as a Capital Fourth.
Thank you, man. I've enjoyed it. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.